Good morning and welcome to our 16th hour of Notre Dame Day, the global celebration of all things Notre Dame that runs for 29 hours. We're here broadcasting live from the new Duncan Student Center up in the Grosjean family loft on the second floor. I'm Vahid Sadarzadeh, an anchor and reporter for the local ABC 57 news team. Before I started working in television, I worked in sports radio for 8 years, really loved getting to be in front of the camera and telling the stories that are important within the community, and Notre Dame Day is no exception to that. So I'm excited to be here for my very first ND Day experience.
Yeah, Vahid, welcome. I'm Alex Wilcox, and though this is not my first run on Notre Dame Day, I'm definitely excited to be back. This will actually be my third ND Day. But on a regular day, you can see me as a sports reporter and an anchor for WNDU right here in South Bend. I've been at WNDU since my graduation from Notre Dame as a proud member of the class of 2016. Now, my Notre Dame sports journey started during my time as an undergrad, working as a student manager for the Fighting Irish football team. Now, when I cover the team, I've got a mic and camera in hand. But I'm still with them through the on and off seasons, from spring ball and the Blue Golds game that just wrapped up to WNDU's Countdown to Kickoff show on game days in the fall. And that's, of course, in addition to the rest of the Notre Dame and local teams that we cover at WNDU. There's always something happening here, which brings us to Notre Dame Day 2018.
Yeah, we've seen some incredible stories throughout Notre Dame Day, but believe me, there is still so much more in store for you today. Later in the broadcast, we'll be treated to another performance from Chloe Agnew, as well as songs from the cast of the Broadway smash hit Hamilton. We'll see those great moments and more starting at 7 p.m. And if you're here on campus, you can grab your tickets starting at noon today at the DeBartolo Performing Arts Center ticket office.
And right after that, in the 9 p.m. hour, we'll head to the finals of the Fighting Irish 40 competition. Under the lights in Notre Dame Stadium, the men and women with the best times from our preliminary rounds will be running for the title of fastest on campus. And the men's division will include two of the fastest players on the Notre Dame football roster.
Coming up in this hour, we'll get to sit down with some amazing people who are changing the game throughout all areas of campus. We'll talk to the head of Notre Dame's new Institute for Latino Studies and meet a cancer researcher who just landed an impressive grant for her research. We'll also head to Texas to hear from a Notre Dame club that is making a difference in its community by putting the strengths of its members at the forefront.
Yes, and that doesn't even cover all of it. It's a big feat to air just 1 hour of this broadcast, let alone all 29 hours. We've got an army of people over in the control room of Corbett Family Hall who are keeping everything running smoothly, as well as crews up here in the Grosjean family loft and down, of course, on the Hiller family midfield set and Hiller family midfield performance stage. And even beyond that, we've got our crews traveling throughout the hours, bringing you live reports from all over campus.
In addition to what's on the main broadcast every hour, you can see tons of bonus Notre Dame content on our ND Loyal Facebook page. And of course, you can watch the entire broadcast live, NotreDameDay.nd.edu, where you'll also be able to complete broadcast viewing guide that will tell you exactly what's coming up in every hour.
And that's not all you can do at the Notre Dame Day site. Viewers also have the chance to make an impact on the areas of the university that they love most. At the end of the show, we'll be giving away a challenge fund gifted by 5 donors and worth $1.1 million, which will be distributed among residence halls, academic units, clubs, and student organizations on campus. And all of you, the viewers, are the ones who get to decide where it will go.
When you make a gift using the Give and Go Vote link on the Notre Dame Day website, you'll get votes that can be cast for any of the 900 student groups and campus organizations participating in Notre Dame Day. The more votes a group gets, the larger percentage the $1.1 million challenge fund they will receive once Notre Dame Day ends.
Yeah, the stakes are high and the opportunity is yours. Give and vote for the groups that you love, and you can make a big difference here at Notre Dame. You've still got 13 hours left, but make sure your voice is heard.
Now, before we dive into all the excitement coming up this hour, we'll check in at the Social Media Center to see how our campus organizations are faring in terms of votes.
Hey, thanks so much, guys, and thanks again for joining us. Notre Dame Day 2018, the 5th annual. I'm here with Sarah Casson. Sarah, you've been with us since year 1. Thank you so much for being a part of this event. It's the largest event of its kind in higher education. It sounds like the couple new fantastic eateries here in Duncan Student Center are starting to get ramped up for lunch. We're starting to have some delightful scents coming over this way, which is making me really hungry. Have you had the chance to try any of the new food spots around here?
I have. You know, there's 3 different sections, and so there's all kinds of different things to try. There's Asian. I had this curry soup that was
I've had
amazing.
that. Oh, it's so good.
Really good. I was here with my daughters the other day. They still wanted to go to La Fortune. They've got their favorites back over there. So there's so many options.
Something for everybody, for sure. We're so lucky to be here. They've been great broadcast partners with us this year. Wanted to give you a sense of the leaderboards right now. Most importantly, that 1842 challenge amongst our alumni clubs around the country and around the world right now. Group A is very, very interesting. Not only is it a very tight race, it really highlights the big theme that we like to push every year on Notre Dame Day, and that is that any single club at all, from Stuart, Florida, to this year, the Notre Dame Club of Eastern North Carolina, just by sending a few emails, getting out there on social media, can drive thousands of dollars for their local Notre Dame Club scholarship. Best example, Group A, Eastern North Carolina is at the top right now, 201 votes. To give you some perspective, Eastern North Carolina only had 290 votes in the last 4 years combined. And they have 200 votes so far this year. An amazing effort by them. Thanks to everyone watching and giving and voting down there. Lake County, though, is not far behind, and we see them every year. Lake County, Illinois, 177 votes, and the Notre Dame Club of Phoenix, very close behind them, 164 votes. Remember, the top-performing club in each group category, will receive an additional $1,800 for their scholarship. So this is going to be one to keep an eye on as we get through Notre Dame Day. Also, our hourly challenge for this hour is for the academies. So all those academic groups and departments that you want to support on Notre Dame Day, this is the hour to do that. The top performing academic group will get an additional $500 from the challenge fund. So if you haven't done so yet, make that $10 gift. Start encouraging family and friends. Now is the time where you're really going to see that activity heat up. So start reaching out to your networks. That's what makes Notre Dame Day so amazing. The collective power of the Notre Dame family coming out each and every year. It's been an amazing celebration here. We have lots more to come in another great hour. For now, let's send things back upstairs.
All right, thanks so much. We're joined now by Luis Fraga, the director of the Institute for Latino Studies and a first-year student in the Latino Studies Scholars Program, Aaron Benavides. This new merit-based leadership scholarship for undergraduates established just last year is designed to attract and shape key leaders working to empower Latino communities. Welcome both to the show. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you.
The Institute for Latino Studies has been at Notre Dame since 1999. Professor Fraga, tell us more about what the Institute does here at Notre Dame.
Sure. The Institute was established in 1999 so that Notre Dame could be at the forefront of the best research, teaching, and service with regards to the future of the Catholic Church, and through the Catholic Church, the future of the country. Not a lot of people know that 35 to 40% of all Catholics in the United States are now Latino or Hispanic. 54% of all Catholic millennials are Latinos and Hispanics. So what Notre Dame decided to do was to be at the front of asking the best questions, developing the right answers, and having a faculty, courses, and students who are committed to doing the best work on Latino communities in the United States. Our institute has 29 affiliated faculty members. We affect about 500 students across all our classes. We have 50 majors and minors. That puts us among the best institutes of this sort in the country, but we're different because we're focused on the future of the Catholic Church, and through the Church, the future of the country.
And I'm sure that was important for you, but expand on that a little bit, why it was so important to establish Latino Studies Scholars Program here.
Sure. And the Latino Studies Scholars Program is Notre Dame's intentional effort to not just study issues, not just study the future, but actually train the next generation of leaders, or at least contribute to the training of the next generation of leaders for our church and for our country. To do that, we wanted a merit-based scholarship where students are identified on the basis of the commitment they've already had to doing good work in Latino communities. Just like Notre Dame was the university of choice for the Irish and for Italians and for other Catholics at a time where it wasn't sure what the future would be, we want to be at the forefront of the best thinking and leadership development for those people who will be the future leaders of our country.
And you've got the next generation sitting to your right here. Aaron, you're in a special class among some of the first recipients of this new scholarship. What prompted your interest in Latino studies?
Right. I think Latino studies is really important right now because if you look at the demographics, the Latino and Hispanic community is the youngest and fastest growing population in the United States and in the Catholic Church. And so it's really important for us to become aware of that and to realize the implications of that in the future and even now in the present. So I think what's great about the Latino Studies Scholars Program is that it really gives me the opportunity to further my interest in Latino studies while also studying my majors and minors. I'm a political science and theology major with a minor in journalism, ethics, and democracy. And so really incorporating Latino studies into that is just a great way for me to kind of learn how to take that and really grow in leadership skills to lead the future, to be the future.
Dan, it's only your first year here at Notre Dame, but what has your experience been with the Institute and the university so far?
It has been a phenomenal year at Notre Dame. Really becoming part of the Notre Dame family has been just a great experience, and I've had one of the best years of my life here, and really getting to know so many different people, getting to learn so many different things, and being connected to the Institute in such a unique way, and kind of being a part of the first group of this scholarship has been such a unique experience, and getting to know Professor Fraga and the team at the ILS has been incredible, and really having all these opportunities and different ways of furthering my studies and interests has been just an incredible experience.
Yeah, fantastic. Professor Fraga, one last question for you. How do you see the Institute for Latino Studies and this scholarship develop given how it is now for the future?
Well, we want to get more scholars here. We want to be the place where the next generation of leaders chooses to come to build a network of relationships among themselves so that they get to understand each other from diverse parts of the country. You know, our scholarship isn't just for Latino students. Our scholarship is for all students who've committed themselves to this work, the future of the church, the future of the country. It's merit-based, available to students from all income levels. We want to bring those people that have high aspirations of themselves, high aspirations of their work in the church, and high aspirations of their leadership for the country and the church to be here at Notre Dame, have the Notre Dame experience, get Notre Dame values, and use that to influence the country and the world for the rest of their lives.
Well, thank you both so much for being here today.
You're very welcome.
We look forward to seeing what the Institute has in store. Again, thanks so much for being here. And now let's head over down to the Miller family midfield performance stage with Ryan Harris. Ryan, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Our next guest is a Mishawaka native and Ball State graduate who also is one of the stars behind the scenes for not just the Olympic sports, but the baseball team as well. Joe Nagel. Joe, welcome.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
So we got some new uniforms this year with baseball. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, so Under Armour unveiled a whole new line of uniforms this year, and we took full advantage of ordering all of them. So we go from a white, gray, gold, a green, a navy, and then this flashy all-green one.
And so how do you decide which uniform to use? Is that a captain's decision, your decision, coaches?
You have to keep in mind that baseball is usually playing 4 to 5 games a week, 3 Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the name of the game is really versatility, so they have to be able to mix and match to make the most of what they have. But it's really up to captains, and then depending on if they're home or away, that'll kind of dictate what uniforms they wear.
And I don't want you to rat anybody out now, but do some players have some uniform superstitions?
It's baseball. Everybody has superstitions. You know how that goes.
Yeah. But what's some of the weirdest? What's one of the weirder ones?
I know a couple guys. It's more or less with the shoes, really. Depending on how they tie their shoes or how they performed in a certain game and what shoes they wear, they will stick with that routine until it doesn't go so well for them. So.
And then any socks or belt or hat issues as well?
No, not so much that. The uniform will kind of dictate what socks and what hats they will wear. So whatever uniform they wear really takes that out of play, out of the decision-making process.
And then do you have a favorite here out of this lineup? That's a beautiful lineup. Did you bring in an extra large tall?
It's coming in next week, actually.
Okay, yeah,
sure
good answer. Good answer.
But my favorite, even though it's kind of, you look at it and you go, wow, that's a little much, the all green, when they wear that Friday nights on the road under the lights, it's an awesome look for them.
Very intimidating, I'm sure, as
absolutely,
well.
Absolutely.
And then lastly now, I mean, not lastly, but lastly with the uniforms, the gold helmets are a part of the uniform as well. Talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, the gold helmets are definitely a part of it. Football, every time they run out of the tunnel, you got the gold helmets. And any sport that has a helmet, I think, wants to kind of play part of that as well. And baseball is a perfect sport for it. And they have all gold helmets for batters, and then even catchers have all gold helmets as well.
And the batters, it probably helps the pitchers get a little distracted, huh?
It does. Our hit by pitch numbers are up the last couple of years.
Is that real?
No, I'm not sure about that.
I was going to say.
I wouldn't be shocked. So,
yeah, we'll go for a scientific fact
absolutely.
There. And then there is something here. Oh, you got this little hat behind you. It was poking out. Talk a little bit about this, the Strikeout ALS. What's going on here?
Yeah, so actually it's this coming weekend, too, so it's kind of perfect timing for it. But This hat is a hat we ordered for the baseball team to wear for the Pete Frates Fund that they do. A little background behind it. Pete Frates was actually Mick Aoki's first captain when he was head coach at Boston College. So he has a personal relationship with Pete.
Yeah.
And Mick is trying to do everything he can in order to kind of keep Pete's message going about ALS research and ALS awareness. So every year they have a weekend where they dedicate one home game to raising awareness for Pete Frates Fund.
All right, and then lastly, how many baseballs does a team go through in a year? I've always wondered.
A lot. It's a lot of baseball. Giving them to the kids that show up, hitting them out of the ballpark. A lot of baseballs.
All right, well, thank you so much, Joe. And now we're going to go to Karishma Desai at the Basilica with a group that is sure to impress.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm here at Notre Dame's beautiful Basilica of the Sacred Heart, where we're moments away from hearing a performance from the enormously talented Women's Liturgical Choir. I'm joined here by Megan Wilson from the choir. Megan, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Thank you so much for having us here. We're delighted to sing for you.
I'm excited too, and I'm sure our viewers are. But first, can you tell us how many times does the Women's Liturgical Choir perform here at the Basilica?
Yeah. So our primary ministry is to sing at the 5 p.m. Vigil Mass every Saturday here in the Basilica, but we also take our music outside of the Basilica on our annual tour. So right now we're actually working to fundraise for a tour to South America next year to go with Holy Cross Missions to Peru to serve and bring our ministry to South America.
That's great. And what will you be performing for us today?
We will be singing Shankar Vanaki, which is a traditional Georgian hymn and song of praise to the Virgin Mary.
Great. Take it away.
Thank you.
Wow, that was an incredible performance. Thank you all again so much. That was really beautiful. Now let's head back to studio with Alex Wilcox. Alex?
And fantastic performance by that choir. Always a beautiful voice. And with us now, we have a postdoctoral researcher in the Harper Cancer Research Institute whose recent accomplishment has marked a landmark achievement for science and research at Notre Dame. We're talking, of course, with Dr. Tavette Hilliard, who joins us now. You are a fellow in the lab of Dr. Sharon Stack, Notre Dame's first ever recipient of the highly competitive 5-year K01 Research Cancer Development Award from the NIH/NCI. First off, Tavette, congrats on winning the award.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's an incredible accomplishment. And now I gotta look at the card for this one because your project is an absolute mouthful. It's the impact of maternal obesity on the reprogramming of the metastatic microenvironment. For someone like me who knows nothing about science, can you explain that a little bit, and what are you looking to uncover with that project?
Sure. So mainly we study ovarian cancer in our lab, and so we look at host factors including age and obesity. And so my specific project, I took it a step further. So ovarian cancer is the most deadliest gynecological disease among women. And so the reason of that is because it metastasizes or spreads to the abdominal cavity. And so my research is looking at the maternal obesity of the mother's diet, or how she eats a bad diet and becomes obese, and how that can actually reprogram cells that are in the abdominal cavity that these ovarian cancer cells like to go to. Wow. And so mostly they like to go to the fat cells. And so if a mother is obese, she will tend to have more fat cells. And then if her diet can reprogram these cells in her offspring, then they are actually prone to, no matter what diet they have, they tend to eat, they'll be prone to ovarian cancer metastasis. So I'm looking at if a maternal diet can actually affect the offspring's health.
Wow, that's really interesting. Something I would never even have
mouthful.
thought about. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And now, what inspired you to dig deeper on this topic?
So we know that obesity is a worldwide epidemic, and the increase in prevalence of childhood obesity is rising. So, and also ovarian cancer is a deadly disease. And so I mixed the two together to look at how your mother or your grandmother can actually set you up pretty much for failure or for a great life in the future. So looking back, because we don't know why these cells like to go to the abdominal cavity. So if we can know if there's some type of cell change or genetic change that we can actually target, then that will actually help us with at-risk women.
Wow, okay. You've been here at Notre Dame for 3 years. So what kind of brought you here to Notre Dame in the first place?
Well, it's Notre Dame. And I wanted to work in the lab of Sharon Stack, the director of Harper Cancer Research Institute, because I really feel that institute gives us an interdisciplinary approach on looking at our projects. So with my grant, I have statisticians, I have imaging, I have MD doctors. So I have a group of people that are rooting me on to actually succeed with my project.
Yeah, and you're doing amazing work. You know, growing up, did you ever think you'd be doing work like this in one of the most renowned cancer research centers out there?
I did not. As a little girl, I actually thought I was going to be a doctor, but not a PhD doctor. I thought I was going to be a medical doctor. I wanted to be an obstetrician gynecologist. I wanted to deliver babies. So I guess I can still say I do. It's just mouse babies that I deliver now.
Sure, a different type of babies.
Different type.
And so what will things look like for you beyond these next 5 years?
Hopefully the results that I get from my initial studies will actually give me enough data to actually one day start my own lab at a university, maybe Notre Dame, and then continue my research and build my research program to eventually help answer the question of how obesity affects ovarian cancer metastasis.
Awesome. Well, good luck with that, and congrats to you on your award, Dr. Tavette Hilliard, doing great things for us here at Notre Dame. And thank you for joining us. After a quick break, we'll be back featuring a Notre Dame club doing something very special for their community, so stick around.
When I come back on campus, it brings back many memories.
The Fighting Irish playing their last game for Air Upset Alabama.
I think Dad's best known for his Hall of Fame football career. He was a coach, a teacher.
Sometimes we learn from having adversity. At least they will know how to meet the next challenge.
But probably his most important role was the protector of the family. When my children were diagnosed with Niemann-Pick type C, Dad jumped in with both feet.
After the grieving, we decided, what are we going to do about this?
Mike and Cindy Parsegian lost 3 of their 4 children to Niemann-Pick type C, a rare degenerative neurological disease without a cure. The University of Notre Dame's Bowler Parsegian Center for Rare and Neglected Diseases is working to combat this deadly disease.
I'll never forget when the Parsegian family visited us for the first time here at Notre Dame, looked me in the eye and said, "Can you help us?"
Professor Paul Hellquist is part of a national effort that has helped improve treatments for Niemann-Pick type C.
I feel privileged to have been part of a very large team that is finally reaching this point of tremendous promise to either slow or stop the progress of this terrible disease.
Have you fallen? No. Bumped into anything? Nope.
After our daughter began these treatments, the light in her eye came back, the laughter. Every day I hope there's another discovery, and hope means everything to us as a family.
My dad used to say, the Lord gives us burdens, but he also gives us shoulders. Dad's legacy is carried on the shoulders of doctors and scientists who've rallied to fight the disease.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting for the lives of children.
We are the Fighting Irish.
And welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Vahid Sadrzadeh. Joining us now on the Notre Dame video hotline, we'll be hearing from Notre Dame's Club of Dallas, which has set up a very unique partnership among alumni clubs that connects club members with Dallas Catholic schools who are most in need of their help and expertise. Members of the Dallas Club have filled a variety of needs, from serving as parking lot attendants to designating a new school library. Welcome club members Brian Tracy and Matt Varecki. In 2017, the club officially kicked off its partnership with Dallas Catholic Schools. Matt, good morning. Tell us how the partnership came about.
Well, there's always really been a connection between Catholic schools and Notre Dame and the ACE program here within Dallas. Specifically, we've always had a lot of graduates that are around. There's nearly 60 ACE graduates here employed by our schools. There's a number of Notre Dame connections that come through all of this. And so when I arrived in Dallas 2 years ago, along with Veronica Alonso, our associate superintendent, there was a natural connection to want to connect ACE, Catholic schools, and Notre Dame in a new and I think really innovative way. We met with Brian Tracy and also Calvin Colbert, who was a former president of the club, to look at ways that we could formalize that and say, how can we connect these needs with people who have just such great talents, who really have a passion for Catholic education that ultimately can provide hope, access, learning, and opportunity to people here in Dallas.
Matt, can you tell us a little bit about the relationship the club has with the ACE teachers in Dallas?
I can. It's a great relationship. As I mentioned, we have a ton of ACE graduates here. And last year, Dallas was actually the site of the most ACE graduate or ACE active teachers at the current time. We do things for them like connecting ultimately with meals. We provide support for their schools. We wind up working together to make sure that we can be supportive of them in their own ministries. And then ultimately we make sure that they're very integrated in with a club here as well.
Brian, good morning to you as well. How do Dallas Catholic schools get in touch with the club and seek the assistance of the relevant members?
Well, that's a great question. And, when we created this with Matt and Calvin and the team, we sort of saw this as becoming sort of the Uber for Catholic education in Dallas. What we want to do is put, the responsibility on the schools to try to find, the people to support. What we wanted to do is let us know about it, let the club know about it, and then we can provide that platform, to get them in touch with the right people. So the schools will send a form that comes through Veronica Alonso's office, but there also are some direct appeals that will come to me, will come to Kevin Clark, our past president, and Paul Roncal, our current president. And then what we do is then we'll either send an e-blast to our entire list, we'll try to promote it on social media, and then in certain cases, we'll go and make direct appeals to certain individuals that we think would be a good fit, because the requests will range from, trying to help clean a school, try to help with this, do some graphics, all the way to we need some people on our board to support our school in the long term. So we try to match that up and get these relationships as close as possible.
Yeah, Matt, and some examples of a project that the club has been involved with and how that project met the school's needs. Can you give us an example?
Yeah, a few come to mind. We've gone from as explicit as saying, hey, we need board members to come in. And oftentimes these are schools in very low income areas that sometimes people in Dallas don't even know exist. We've also had unintended consequences with this that have come through as well, where we've had people who have toured the schools, who have come to a Hesburgh lecture and then a day of service and said, this is a place I want to support, even by giving scholarships to the kids that are there. So it's been really remarkable to make sure that the areas of greatest need are also meeting the people with the best talents to serve that need.
Yeah, and how does the future look in the partnership?
Well, we're very excited about it. And, we've been at it for, I think, about a year now, and we've already had a lot of tremendous results. But I think Matt pointed out something, that's important to mention is that, we're getting requests, we're filling requests, but we're finding these unintended opportunities that are popping up that are finding new ways for our members to support the schools. So, I can't say what it's going to look like a year from now or 5 years from now, but I think we're really confident it's going to be good. It's going to be good for the club, it's going to be good for the diocese, and most importantly, it's going to be good for the Catholic schools here in Dallas.
Brian, Matt, thank you so much for joining us here this morning. Talk about being a force for good and a partnership that continues to grow. Stay right here. After a quick break, Alex will be in the studio with a leader of Notre Dame development. Don't go anywhere.
An Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
We are the University of Notre Dame.
If a seed planted in dirt can one day preserve a species or cure the sick, or resurrect a people withering economically, we dream of what a seed planted in the mind and heart can one day do.
And welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Alex Wilcox, and we're joined now by Drew Buscarino, who serves as the Associate Vice President for University Relations. He is a double-domer with a BA in History back in 1991 and then in MSA in 1996. He worked for over 11 years with the homeless right here in South Bend before coming back to his current role in University Relations at Notre Dame in December 2003. Drew, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Notre Dame Day. Now, I got to ask you, what is the President's Circle, and how did that all get started?
Sure. So the President's Circle is Notre Dame's leading annual giving program. We actually started it right at the end of Father Malloy's tenure as a way to do two things. One, to give the president of the university the resources on an annual basis to make strategic investments and to meet critical unmet needs, and then also to create sort of a vehicle to just invite sort of our leadership donors into a deeper relationship with Notre Dame's mission.
Yeah, and that leads into my next question. How do the members of the President's Circle engage with the university?
Yeah, so we actually organize over the course of a year a whole series of events and activities where our members sort of are meeting with and in dialogue with the university's leadership, principally with Father John, our students, and our faculty. In fact, right now, we're launching our summer mentorship program. So we ask our members to sort of serve as career mentors for students who are doing internships in their region over the summertime. So it's a great way for people to engage with the leadership and then one-on-one with students throughout the course of a year.
Absolutely. Now, there are many different ways that people can engage with Notre Dame. But what is different about this program?
Yeah, I think what's sort of different is, first and foremost, it's a regular engagement. So there's always some next opportunity, right? So throughout the fall, we obviously organize a lot of stuff around the football season, right? we'll do stuff during the winter, and then sort of this mentorship program is a signature event. And then we do something really special that only happens really through the President's Circle program. We organize a global symposium in Washington, D.C. every 2 years with national and world leaders. So we have sort of a 2-day symposium. We invite, leaders of our government, foreign government, leaders in journalism to sort of meet privately and engage with the membership and with the university's leadership, talking about what are the most pressing issues facing the world today. So something very different and very special.
Yeah, absolutely. Very special. I mean, that's unlike anything I've ever heard of before. And now, what is the impact of a President's Circle gift?
Yeah, and so each year, Father John will direct all of the gifts that came through the President's Circle to the university's sort of most urgent priorities and critical needs. I think something that we're really excited about is we have over 300 Notre Dame students today receiving the President's Circle Scholarship at an average award of over $18,000. So literally that means that most of these students would never have the chance to come to Notre Dame were it not for the President's Circle Fund.
Wow.
And then most recently, Father John has sort of used this fund to start the new Idea Center, right? So, the Idea Center focusing on sort of entrepreneurship and innovation. I think we have 22 new startup companies commercializing Notre Dame research this year. So the fund is used to sort of make those strategic investments and to sort of start up new major initiatives at Notre Dame. So it's a really exciting, and the allocation of the fund changes every year depending upon where Father John decides to make the investments.
Yeah, it really does sound like an incredible opportunity, does a whole lot of good. So how can someone become a member of this President's Circle?
Yeah, so, our President's Circle members make an annual sort of unrestricted gift beginning at $25,000 to the university, right? They can make that gift directly to the university, right, through the development department, and just sort of designate it for the President's Circle. And then we begin to immediately engage them through all of our events and activities throughout the year.
All right, Drew, thank you so much for joining us. Well, after this quick break, we'll turn it back over to Vahid. He'll be sitting down with one of the supervising directors of the Broadway hit Hamilton ahead of their big performance later tonight. Stay tuned.
The mind. It processes every image, every voice, every word on the page. Yearning to understand, inspired by faith, it paints a picture of the world. When given the chance to examine things from different perspectives, to turn conventional thought upside down, the mind soars.
Welcome back to Notre Dame Day, everyone. I'm Vahid Sadrzadeh, and our next guest is someone whose work will be familiar not only to Notre Dame audiences, but to theater goers everywhere. I can assure you that. Notre Dame alum Patrick Vassell is back to talk about the road to becoming a theater professional and his role in creating the one-person show Soren, a Notre Dame story. Patrick, welcome back to Notre Dame. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I know you graduated with someone who is pretty famous these days. I know you're from Akron, Ohio. Tell us the person you graduated with, but you were voted most likely to succeed.
Yeah, my classmate was LeBron James. The big victory last night, go Cavs. We grew up together in Akron and went to the same high school together. Yeah.
What was that like?
It was incredible. He was incredible even when he was 15 years old, and it's been remarkable to watch his career over these last 15 years.
Well, it's been remarkable to watch your career over the past 15 years as well. What led you to theater while you were here at Notre Dame?
An amazing film, television, and theater department. Many of the professors that I had when I was a student here are professionals that I've stayed in touch with and have been lucky enough to work with on Soarin'. And that was one of the most fun things about putting the show together, was getting to work with my old faculty members from FTT. And I also learned how to direct while I was on campus. The student theater scene here at Notre Dame allows students to really, get to do whatever they want. And my friends directed me in their shows, and that's how I learned how to do it myself.
We'll talk about your work with the Broadway smash hit Hamilton. Did you think it was going to be a runaway success like it has been?
No, I don't think any of us could have seen how successful it would be, and just how hungry people are for this story. And that's been, the thrilling part of this current chapter, is as we are sending our tours out all over the country, seeing different audiences really respond to it, all over, it feels like, opening night all over again every time we go to a new city.
Well, you're also the director of the new one-person show Soarin', a Notre Dame story that is currently touring the country, and I understand you had a fantastic crowd. I know you did. You had a fantastic crowd yesterday during the performance. Talk a little bit about that show.
So it's the story of the founder of Notre Dame, Edward Soarin', and it's an amazing story. At 27 years old, he comes over to the middle of Indiana. There's nothing really here, and he says, "Here's what we're going to build." And so there were hundreds of stories we had to choose from. Our playwright Christina Gorman did an incredible job writing our script, and then got to work with my old friend Matthew Goodrich, who we met doing theater here on campus, and he portrays Father Soarin'. So yesterday was really fun to get to bring it to a big stage in South Bend, and had an amazing audience, and it was a great afternoon.
And I'm sure connecting with the Notre Dame community and bringing it back here to Notre Dame was special for you.
Absolutely, and again, being able to be on that Morris stage, which is just such a beautiful theater, and share it with such a large audience. The DCO here is great, but we only get to do it 350 at a time. So to be able to share that with 1,000 people in the seats was really, really very special.
Patrick, thank you so much for being here. And if you haven't seen Soarin', I would recommend doing so. It's fantastic. And now let's head over to the Miller family midfield set, where Ryan Harris will be discussing how you can get involved with Notre Dame by giving annually.
Thank you so much, Vahid. We're here with Brian Diss and Kim Borza, who both work in Development's annual giving office. Welcome you both to Notre Dame.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit. Tell us about the impact of the annual giving here at Notre Dame.
We are really blessed here at the university with friends, parents, alumni who care so much about this place. And the gifts that they give back every year are really the lifeblood of what happens here on campus, whether it's financial aid or the student life activities that happen here. Gifts of $200 or less last year put 23 students through Notre Dame.
Wow.
So just the cumulative impact of that passion and support is what's special about Notre Dame's family.
And the Soarin' Society is a part of it as well, and it's a giving society named after the university's founder and president. Talk a little bit about how that impact is specific.
Yeah, so the Soarin' Society has been around for 42 years. We have about 80,000 members of the Notre Dame family. And we like to talk about, they do three things for Notre Dame. They make it possible for our students. 562 students are here because of Soarin' Society scholarships. They make Notre Dame distinct. So that whether it's the residential life traditions, the student study abroad opportunities, student activities, the things that we all cherish as Notre Dame alumni about Notre Dame, is made possible through Soarin' Society gifts. And then really the powerful impact that our students and alumni have in the world, whether it's service opportunities, the research that's happening on campus that can cure a disease in the future. That's the type of stuff that's happening only because people give back through the Soarin' Society each year.
And Kim, you work with the Rockne Athletic Fund. First, Thank you as an alumni monogram winner.
Absolutely.
Thank you. But tell the people a little bit about what the program does.
Yeah, so the Rockne Athletics Fund is the athletics arm of annual giving, and we are all about providing crucial financial aid to our student athletes. So Ryan, I know that you were a scholarship athlete yourself.
Yep.
I was a scholarship student athlete as well. So you know what a gift that is to you and your family, that critical financial aid, and that is what Rockne provides. It's also such a gift to the university. We're able to compete at the very highest levels. Obviously, athletics has seen a lot of success recently, and a lot of that is due to the generosity of Rockne members. And of course, being a Notre Dame student athlete means not just being a champion on the field, but being a champion in the community, in the classroom. And Rockne provides resources to help our student athletes there as well. So networking opportunities, internship opportunities, travel abroad opportunities. So were you ever able to travel abroad?
I wasn't, unfortunately, but I think like you said, the reason why guys and gals come here is because it's not just athletics. It goes
Absolutely.
beyond. It's amazing to see that the Rockne Athletic Fund helps kids do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're able to help now student athletes who are here have those cultural experiences and study abroad, so they get to be well-rounded, and we give them the opportunity to wear that blue and gold.
Yeah, I think Brandon Wimbush, I was just talking to him after the blue gold game, he's going to Russia. That's something that you guys help students go do.
Yeah, those type of opportunities, absolutely. So we really want them to be well-rounded and have the best experience here.
Awesome. Well, how can people get involved and how can people give?
Yeah, so we have all kinds of information on our website, giving.nd.edu.
Giving.nd.edu.
Yes,
one more
exactly.
time, giving.nd.edu. In case you didn't get it,
That's right.
giving.nd.edu.
We have all the kind of outline of all the experiences that we offer to our members. Our gold level members get a lot of great opportunities throughout the year, opportunities to how to give throughout the year, whether you want to do on a monthly or quarterly basis, and our phone number as well, so that if you want to talk to Kim or myself, we can hook you up with the right information.
And real quick, what are some of the benefits that members get?
Yeah, impact obviously is the most important, but perks never hurt, absolutely. So we do a lot of experiences, exclusive opportunities for our Giving Society members, so different events, and we're all about connecting our Giving Society members to the leadership of the university, leadership of athletics. We just had a coaches call with the coordinators, so Lee, Long, Polian. They were able to interact with our members directly, and that's really what we're all about, is being here for you, helping you connect back to the university. Perks never hurt.
Yeah, well, thank you both so much. Thanks for being here and thanks for everything you do. We are now going to go back up to Alex, who has a pioneer in the research and development of new, potentially life-changing drugs. Alex?
Blog the
Perfect.
Great job. Thank you so much.
In biochemistry, and also the director of the Warren Family Research Center for Drug Discovery and Development, with his own drug research and his position now at the helm of a center dedicated to the same cause. Brian is a true force for good and progress in the medical community. Brian, welcome to Notre Dame Day. So you've got, your research has generated drugs that are currently in a clinical trial, and so I wanted to ask you, how do you get to that point? You know, how exactly do you go about researching and then creating a new drug?
It's a difficult process. A lot of it starts with thinking outside the box, thinking differently about a problem than other people have approached. And in our case, we look at protein folding, which sounds really obscure, but it's not. It's really just a simple process, and we look for ways to inhibit it or stimulate it. And the drug that's in phase 2 clinical trials now is a drug that actually helps proteins fold. And so you can imagine if you have Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, these are all diseases in which you accumulate misfolded proteins in the form of plaques or tangles within the brain. And so what you do is you stimulate your body's ability to refold aggregates or proteins that are misfolded. And that's what our drug does, is it refolds misfolded proteins. And in animal models, it works very well in multiple disease states. It's currently in phase 2 clinical trials for peripheral neuropathy, which is a very common side effect. Most diabetes will get diabetic peripheral neuropathy, and that's what we're investigating for, because it's easier to monitor in clinical trials. But likewise, we also have a drug that we're getting ready to move into phase 1 clinical trials for the treatment of glaucoma, which of course is a disease in which you accumulate misfolded proteins in the eye. And so with these eye drops, at least in animals, it works very well. It treats the animals for glaucoma, and reduces intraocular pressure and things like that. And we're heavily focused in the area of cancer, and so we're developing compounds that actually inhibit protein folding, which turns out to be very useful to stop cancer growth. And so we're hoping to advance those compounds into clinical trials in the future. So really the whole discovery process is really based on finding something that's unique that other people aren't doing and seeing what you can do with it. In this case, we've been very fortunate to make progress in areas that haven't really been well investigated.
Yeah, and now tell us a little bit of the work that the Warren Research Center does and how it facilitates your own work in creating these drugs.
Okay, so the Warren Center for Drug Discovery and Drug Development is really, it's a new center here on campus. I started here in August, and what I'm trying to do is build a collaborative network. Right now, I've focused the first 6 months I've been here on developing interactions with other faculty on campus, other centers on campus. For example, we worked with the Center for Rare and Neglected Diseases, in which we're trying to discover drugs for Niemann-Pick disease. We're also looking for drugs for malaria. And so really a lot of it's collaborations and getting people to have faith and confidence in what the Warren Center offers. And right now, what the Warren Center has for the researchers on campus as well as off campus is we have a core where we can make drugs. We have a core where we can design drugs. It's more of a computer-based computational core. And then we have another core where you can do biological screening. So you can put these in cells and see how they work. And so really we're trying to foster collaborations in an effort to get more people engaged in drug discovery on campus as well as off campus. And those are opportunities that I think most universities don't have. And in this case, we have several faculty already engaged in drug discovery on campus. We have Shar Mobashiri, him and Malin Chang are phenomenal. Marv Miller. We've made a couple new hires this year as well. Paul Helquist, Olaf Weiss have been working in Neiman Pick for a long time. So it's really a nice collection of researchers. And I think as we continue to build the center, we can be probably the top medicinal chemistry focused department in the country. At least that's what I'm hoping to aspire to.
Those are definitely some lofty goals, but definitely something I think you can accomplish. Thank you so much for joining us here on Notre Dame Day and for all of the work you've been doing in drug research. Now let's check in on our voting leaderboard at the Social Media Center and find out which groups are on top.
Hey, thanks so much, everyone. It's great to be with you here. Notre Dame Day 2018, the 5th annual, the largest event of its kind in higher education. Thanks to every single one of you out there. You've given and voted for the areas at Notre Dame that mean the most to you. What a great interview with Brian and Kim, two of my colleagues earlier representing the Soren Society and the Rockne Athletics Fund. A lot of my time at the university is spent with our Soren members. I'm a Soren member myself. It is such a gratifying honor to be able to provide so much financial aid for our students every year. So if you're thinking about financial aid this Notre Dame Day, make that minimum $10 gift. Cast your 5 votes for financial aid. They're on our leaderboard right now. They're number 6 overall. If the competition ended right now, financial aid would receive $20,000 worth of the $1.1 million challenge fund. And it's kind of that way all the way up and down here. St. Ed's at the top. They're on track to receive $45,000 from this year's $1.1 million challenge fund. That is transformational for the club, especially as far as their local service projects are concerned. A lot of our residence halls have been able to transform their signature projects thanks to challenge fund dollars in ways that really impact the local community. Some leaderboards I wanted. This is one of the most competitive years we've had in a while in some of our subcategories. I can show you right now athletics, men's lacrosse and swimming and diving, and women's lacrosse are neck and neck. It's really anyone's game here. Cheerleading as well. Anyone's game as far as the athletic teams. This helps send a lot of our varsity programs to camps, helps them with service projects in their communities as well. If you're involved in the athletic programs, if you're an alum, if you're a parent of an alum who was a varsity athlete, now is the time to give and vote. I'll say as well, our Notre Dame clubs, oh my goodness, this is going to be the one to track towards the end of the day here. It's literally anyone's contest this year as far as Notre Dame clubs are concerned. Cincinnati's still up top with 433 votes. That's $6,000 if the competition ended right now. But Central Illinois, coming out of nowhere this year, they're catching up. Stewart is still in there. The Notre Dame Club of Central New York, literally anyone's competition at this point. And then student groups, also very, very close between the Glee Club and the Lit Choir. Sarah, it's quite a day. What do we have coming up in the next hour?
Well, we have another exciting hour coming up. We've got Suman Dada, Rob Neighbors, Justin Krepp, and the Shirt Committee. Shirts Green this year featuring legendary coach Era Parsegian. And then we're going to finish it out with Ernest Morrell.
Another great hour ahead. We'll see you very soon at the top of the hour back on Notre Dame Day 2018.
Mosquito-borne diseases are common in Belize. In the summer of 2016, the Zika virus swept through our country, affecting hundreds of families. But we had no way of recognizing the volume or severity of infections, so we could respond in a timely manner.
After I got Zika, my daughter caught it too. It's scary how quickly this virus is spread.
Our deficiencies in diagnostic capacity to detect these viruses resulted in having to send blood samples out of the country and waiting up to 6 weeks for results. We owed it to our citizens and the international community to find a better way.
Professors John Grieco and Nicole Lachey from the University of Notre Dame have partnered with the Belize Ministry of Health and Mayo Clinic on a 5-year project to help strengthen the country's ability to respond to Zika and other mosquito-borne viruses.
We don't yet know how widespread Zika is here. The symptoms can present in the same way as many other tropical illnesses, resulting in cases going underreported.
We're helping them identify outbreaks right here in Belize, usually within 1 week, allowing officials to treat areas immediately, eliminating mosquitoes before the diseases can spread. And we're building a complex database to track and identify all kinds of mosquitoes and tropical diseases. In this technology,
We're also conducting training, providing healthcare professionals the knowledge and tools to handle these outbreaks themselves.
where the cases are.
And that may really be the most lasting legacy of our efforts.
Our partnership with Notre Dame and Mayo Clinic is making Belize a safer place to visit and a safer place to live.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting mosquito-borne diseases.
We are the Fighting Irish.
An Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
We are the University of Notre Dame.
This is NYPD 701. We're off your port quarter now.
Every day, thousands of vessels enter ports in the United States. And with that comes the risk that any one of them could be carrying nuclear materials.
We're going to be conducting radiation sweeps of your vessel.
Since 1993, there have been more than 2,500 incidents of illicit trafficking in radioactive materials worldwide. Dirty bombs pose a grave threat to this country. To mitigate that threat, we need strong security on the home front, but also strong deterrent measures.
At the University of Notre Dame, engineering professor Tony Simonetti applies nuclear forensics technology to trace the sources of illicit radioactive materials.
An essential part of deterrence is to catch not only those trying to use the weapons, but also those supplying the raw materials. By analyzing chemical signatures, we are able to trace seized materials to their source anywhere in the world.
In partnership with the Department of Homeland Security, Professor Simonetti's lab is developing a comprehensive global database of uranium deposits and a method of analysis, so security experts can combat the threat of dirty bombs faster and more effectively.
I came to Notre Dame knowing that I wanted to serve in the Navy, but it's been incredible to discover that same dedication and opportunity for service working in Professor Simonetti's lab.
Right now in America, there is a real shortage of researchers in the field of nuclear forensics. So it's incredibly gratifying to know that the students I'm teaching will go on to be an essential part of the line of defense that keeps this country safe.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to protect our country.
We are the Fighting Irish.
This college will be one of the most powerful means for doing good in this country.
Notre Dame is a place where differences of culture and religion and conviction can coexist with friendship and civility and even love.
We've been entrusted with Notre Dame to pass it on to the next generation in a way that will influence the world for another 175 years.